G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kaitlyn and I'm an American living in beautiful Sydney, Australia. So I've been on YouTube for about a year and a half at the time I'm filming this. We're a little bit into January 2023 and I wanted to do a breakdown of what my analytics were for 2022, how much money I made in 2022 because I was actually monetized on New Year's Day over here in Australia, so I have an entire year of monetization in 2022. I wanted to show you guys what my growth was, how many videos I put out, what my subscribers were like. So this is going to be a very heavy YouTube analytics video. So if you want to see a behind the scenes of what it's like being a YouTuber, or hopefully this video will encourage anybody who's wanted to try YouTube but thinks that maybe the platform is dying off a little bit. I'm just going to preface this video by saying I'm not trying to brag at all in this video. The purpose of this video is to really encourage people to try YouTube if they want to show that YouTube isn't dead, that you can still make money off of YouTube if you want to. I don't talk about my full-time job income. I don't talk about my husband's income. I'm just here to show you guys what it's like actually being a YouTuber and what it's like being behind the scenes. Maybe this will encourage some of you guys. Maybe this will really be like the video that pushes people over the edge to give it a try. So let's jump right into the analytics of this video. Grab a Vicky, grab a cuppa, and let's get started. Okay, so here we are on my channel dashboard. This is showing the most recent video that I put out, so it will show you guys just when this video was filmed. So currently at 6,842 subscribers and 724 of you guys joined within the last 28 days. So welcome to the channel. So here on the homepage, it just shows the last 28 days. Typically, these are published videos with the most views over the last 28 days. These are the published videos that I've had in order from the last 28 days. Here's my latest post on the community page. And here you can see some of my more recent subscribers. So let's get into the actual analytics. So up here it gives you the last 28 days, and we are going to go to lifetime. And here you guys can see this blows me away, you guys. I haven't looked at this in a couple of weeks and 1.5 million views. You guys amaze me. Thank you all so much. I can't believe there's been 1.5 million views on this channel. That just, it boggles my mind. And I know there's so many other channels that have hundreds of millions of views. I'm so excited 1.5 million. I was excited at 1 million. This is insane to me. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, for logging in. I'm so grateful. And I remember first starting off with my little 50 subscriber count, and I was super excited about that. And now it's grown up to almost 7,000 subscribers, which I cannot wrap my head around, you guys. I'm so thankful for you guys subscribing. And we're going to save the revenue for the end of this video, because I'm going to do a breakdown of month to month, what it's also like, what the CPM and RPM is like. So let's go over to content. Now it's amazing seeing this jump because this is right around the time where people really started to notice my channel. Some of the videos picked up in the algorithm, and by the very end of December, I had reached the watch hours and subscribers needed in order to be monetized on YouTube. So I started my channel, I think I posted my very first video in the beginning of August. Yeah, you can see right around here. Can I get the date? So my very first video had 344 views on the first day, and just for reference, my first video isn't up anymore because it was about travel exemptions to get in during COVID. So the information is completely irrelevant now, so there's no need to still have it up on my channel. But here I was getting a couple views a day trickling in here and there, and then around December it really started to spike up. And it looks like my highest day was 13,000 views in one day. Oh, this is actually my highest, 14,504 views in one day, which is baffling to me. That was an insane day. It was actually pretty amazing to see overall the numbers. It shows you the views, it shows you the impressions, the click-through rate, and then the average view duration, which goes throughout all the videos. So these are the videos that are as short as 6 minutes long, or the videos that are all the way up to half an hour. So obviously some people click in and then they jump out. It does also show people who just kind of go through and get the information, how long they're actually on there, and then jump out. So if you don't watch the video all the way through, obviously the view duration is going to be down a little bit. Even if you just hop through the video and you're only watching a video for about a minute and it's a 20-minute long video, but you see all the points and then you click out of it, it does only show that you're only there for that minute. It doesn't look like you've seen the whole video. So YouTube is definitely very, very smart about that. And here I have lives, which I've only done once, and then here I have posts, which I've only posted a few things. I don't go like super crazy on the community page. But surprisingly, even the post that I made actually brought in 58 of you guys, so thank you guys for subscribing through those posts. Here we have audience, and this has been pretty consistent across the entire year. So I mentioned in multiple videos that most of my audience is Australian, and you can see here the purple is returning viewers, the blue is new viewers, so you can see things going up and down a little bit in the algorithm. Depending on the videos that come out, some of them bring in a lot of new viewers, typically like the more controversial videos, particularly videos where I'm talking about America more in a negative light and a negative context. Those actually tend to bring in a lot more views. You can see down here the videos that are growing my audience, the ones that are really bringing people in. This one says within the last 90 days. I don't think they can do it by lifetime, so within the last 90 days. And then here we have within the last 28 days channels that my subscribers, my audience has also watched. So obviously news channels here in Australia, most of my audience is Australian, and then a couple pretty well-known reaction channels. And here it says when you guys are most likely on my YouTube channel. So funny enough, I actually post around 11 o'clock in the morning. That's like my typical post time when I do these, because it gives me time to react, to interact with you guys, to comment, to like, without me being swamped towards the end of the day of making dinner and getting a shower and getting ready for bed and like all this rushing around. So I might start posting a little bit later if you guys prefer. I'm not sure which would be better, but it seems like a lot of you guys are typically more active at night. So I might consider posting my videos a little bit later going forward, see if that works for you guys. Here within the last 7 days, it's content that your audience has watched. So things that surprise you about Australia, Australia's rise to global power, this week in Australia, how much does an American know about Australia? So all of these different videos all related to Australia, which seems to be like the main content that you guys enjoy is talking about Australia. Now here I have TubeBuddy, which is actually a paid service for YouTubers. So it gives you recommendations, it gives you suggestions for tags and keyword suggestions. So here they have suggestions of when would be the best time for me to be posting according to you guys and when you're on YouTube and when you're watching. So we might actually move these up to 5 o'clock and we'll see how that goes for you guys. And here, this I'm actually not too surprised about. Top geography, 87.5% of you guys live in Australia, or at least have watched videos from Australia. That does not surprise me at all. I post mostly Australian content. Yes, I am an American, but I don't post too much about American content. Most of what I post is what it's like as an American living here in Australia, what it's like learning to live in Australia. I say learning to live down under. That used to be one of my little catchphrases, my little tags. And I've started to move away from that stuff because even though like it is true, it feels so much like a catchphrase, learning to live down under. It's a little over the top. I think a lot of YouTubers, the first year that they'll do this, they start using things like this because it helps them feel a little bit more comfortable and it helps subscribers sort of recognize their channel a little bit more in a sense. If you see the same sort of intros, if you hear the same sort of outros, it kind of gives you a little bit of a familiarity, that familiar sense of watching like a TV show that you like. So I've cut away from doing that. I feel a little bit more authentic doing that as well. I still say things like grab a bicky, grab a cuppa, but at the same time, that does feel authentic to me. Like that's something I'll do if I want to sit down and binge watch a few YouTube videos. I'll go grab a cup of coffee and grab a snack and sit down, and it's like watching TV. And I changed from like hit the like and subscribe to join our Australian family. Now it's just a little bit more factual about it, like hitting the like button and the subscribe button really does help support me, and it helps support this channel, and it helps support the growth. It picks up videos on the YouTube algorithm, and that's how new viewers are able to see my videos, and that's what brings in new subscribers and really does help grow this Australian family that's on here. It's still a word that I'll use once in a while in videos. You'll see it once in a while on my community posts too, but it's something that I don't say. Again, it feels very catchphrase-ish, and I'm starting to move away from that, and it feels a lot more authentic doing that. And here we have watch time from subscribers. So 13%, 13.8% of people who are watching this video are subscribed to this channel, and over 86% of you are not. So if you have not, again, please hit the like and subscribe button. I won't bother you guys too much with videos. Here it actually shows by gender. So typically a lot of my audience does tend to be male. I get it. It's the internet. young woman in my 30s. I understand how that works. And I'm not posting things like fashion content and beauty content and lifestyle vlogs. I consider this a pretty gender neutral channel. The stuff that I'm talking about is pretty gender neutral. Who knows, maybe in a year or two that'll change. Maybe it'll even out a little bit more. I'd like to see it even out because I consider my channel a pretty non-biased channel when it comes to genders and whatnot. I don't talk about genders or anything that's really gender specific. So maybe that'll even out. I don't know. And here it also gives age as well, which I've heard is pretty typical. Like, you have the younger generations that are really leaning more on TikTok than they are on YouTube. And if they go on YouTube, it's typically for a how to do something video. Like, I know a lot of people go on YouTube and how do I fix my washing machine? How do I change a tire? Like, it's very good for that sort of educational how do I do something. I've done that so many times on YouTube. So my audience does tend to be a little bit older in range, which, again, not really surprised. It's been pretty consistent from the very start of this year. So quickly, I will get back to revenue. I promise that will be the next thing I talk about after this. But here we have comments. And this is just to show you guys what it's like in case this is the very first video from me that you've watched. Maybe the very first video that you've seen what it's like behind the scenes on a YouTube video. Here we have what some of the most recent comments are. And the way it does it is by the most recent comment, not by the most recent video. So this is actually a pretty old video for me. Why Americans Hate Australia. American reacts to 10 reasons why. I actually need to change that because it says American expat and I don't really call myself an expat typically. Once in a while it slips out, but I do typically on average call myself an immigrant because expats live somewhere temporarily. Immigrants have moved somewhere with the intention of living there permanently. I do intend on living here permanently, so I typically call myself an American immigrant. But here we have comments, and like I said, these are all across an array of different videos. This has been like my most popular video in the last week, so I'm getting a lot of comments on that one. And here I have ones that are held for review. So typically I don't really read these, I'll be honest. I just approve pretty much what comes through. Once in a while, if I see something that looks threatening or if I see something that looks really odd or spammy, like somebody's replying to a bunch of different comments with the same kind of junk, then I go through and I'll hide the user from my channel. But overall, I've only had to do that from maybe a dozen people in the last year. I don't monitor the comments. Like, this isn't kindergarten, you guys. If you're going to be respectful, be respectful. I know it's the internet and a lot of people love hiding behind these little anonymous posts and they have like no picture of themselves, or they have this be as like user ABCDEFG as like their username. Like, that stuff I typically tend to ignore, and I'm sure a lot of people on this channel are mature enough to just ignore it. They can tell when someone's being a troll. And overall, like I said, unless somebody is being threatening and I can see it, I typically ignore it. I don't see a lot of the replies that come through on comments. Once in a while, I'll see one that comes up where there's like a really weird word that gets flagged, but if someone's able to get around the system, I don't see it. And then up here we have mentioned. So the only person I collabed with in 2022 is Ashley Faye, and she did actually like mention me in a few of the videos that we've done together. So you'll see that pop up, that those are the only mentions that I have because no one's mentioning me in their videos. So finally to the part that you guys have wanted to see. So we are going to do this by month, you guys. So I'm going to do this by month so you guys can see what the progress was like, how the CPM and RPM dips up and down. It was really, really shocking to see it dip down at some points when it seemed pretty consistent before. But you guys will see my very first month, I made $363 on YouTube. And for anybody who doesn't know, in order to get paid out by AdSense, you have to make $100 in order to be paid out. And this was the smallest month that I had. It was the very first month. I'm just getting into the system. My RPM was pretty low at $5.28 on average. But to make that much in my first month, I was shocked. I was so excited. And you could tell that month I had posted about 2 videos a week. I had 8 videos out in the entire month, which is pretty good. That was consistent with what my channel was doing before. And here we had February. You can see it almost doubled, and I actually posted 1 less video than I had the month before, and February is a shorter month. So it really does depend, but my RPM is what really brought up that growth. My RPM went up another $3 and change. So at the end of the day, it's really not just the views, but your RPM as well, because if you have an RPM that's at like $2 and you're getting $2 per 1,000 views, and you have a video that does like 10,000 views in a day, you're getting 20 bucks. March actually went down a little bit. The RPM was pretty much still the same, and I posted 8 videos, but I guess some of them just weren't as interesting to the subscribers that I had. Maybe the keywords weren't quite right to pick them up more in the algorithm. There's all these different factors that you're not entirely sure what it is. Some things you can figure out, but overall it's like you're throwing something at the wall to see if it sticks with every single video that you're putting out there. Sometimes you have a formula and it works and you know the algorithm really well, and sometimes you still use that same formula but the algorithm slightly changed, so you have to figure out what happened and how to adapt to it. April blew me away. Like, it more than doubled what I did the month before, and that was because I had a couple of videos really pick up in views, and that's brought me in like hundreds of dollars just towards the very end of the month. Obviously these bits and pieces really do add up, but when you see days like this, I was shocked. One of the reasons that my ad revenue was so high in April was because I just had a few videos really pick up and really do well. And also, you can see down here what my top earning videos were, and that was the month that I posted the video about my emergency room stories. I knew it would do pretty well. I didn't know it would do nearly as well as it did, and that was actually my very first video that got to 100,000 views. And here we had May, which did pretty much the same. Obviously, I had a little bit of trickle through from the very end of April in that one video that was doing particularly well, and then I had a couple spikes on the days that I posted where the views were going up, so naturally the ad revenue is going up. But it was pretty consistent, and that was my highest month at that point at $10 for RPM, which is fantastic for me. June, my RPM was still really high, and I had posted quite a few videos that month actually. I had posted 10 when, like, typically on average I would be posting 8. So it definitely did help with ad revenue. It definitely helped with income coming in for that month, but it also helped my RPM was still at $10. This is where we are going to see it start to drop because my productivity really dropped in July. Part of it is because we were going to Hawaii on our honeymoon. But part of it was also I'm somebody who kind of suffers from like a seasonal depression. So my productivity decreases so much, especially when it's cold out. Like, it's a little bit cold and rainy today, and I'm already like, oh, I do not feel like doing anything. I just want to stay under a blanket and keep warm. And it's like that if it's 1 or 2 days in a row, but when it's a couple months or weeks at least like that in a row, my productivity really does take a heavy hit, and I could see it through my YouTube channel. I posted 3 videos in the entire month of July, and my revenue was $600, so well under half of what it was the month before for posting 3 videos, which you think, okay, well, you posted 3 videos and you made $600. It's really not a bad return on investment. But I sit there and think, okay, what would it have been like if I was able to keep up with that consistency and post 2 videos a week? What would my revenue have looked like then? What would it have been like then? Obviously, I shouldn't be beating myself up over these things, but at the same time, it's something that is in my control, and it's mind over matter. I just have to get around my mind sometimes, especially when seasonal depression hits. But you see with August as well, it was still pretty low compared to the months before. Remember, I was making like $1,200, $1,500 one month. And then here I posted 6 videos and made like a little over $850 with a $10 RPM, which is still really good, you guys. But overall, I struggled to put anything out in August. I just had no motivation. I had no energy. Some videos that did really well. This whole going back to America after living in Australia video did really, really well in the algorithm for me for a while. And then my views would dip up a little bit as I posted videos. September was another hard month for me. Still cold, still chilly, and just had no motivation. So I only posted 4 videos in the entire month. One of them actually did pretty well. It was a video that I posted about Reddit. This one did all right as well, talking about Australian memes. But under $500. This was my lowest month since I had started on YouTube. So now that I can actually see the numbers, see the data, see the statistics, I'm hoping that it will be a little bit easier for me, a little bit more motivation for me going into next year to really try to hunker down and get through this content. Like, I love putting videos out for you guys, but sometimes it really is like mind over matter, and sometimes just getting around your mind to actually trick yourself into being productive. Maybe I just need a really good pair of gloves that I can type in. Maybe that'll help me a little bit, because winter comes, my hands are cold. Even though I have like shoes on, sometimes my feet just get cold, and it's like once those things start to get cold and they feel cold, my hands actually feel a little bit cold now. Like, it makes it just a little bit tougher to keep going. So maybe I just need to find a few tricks to really keep myself extra warm next year in order to film more videos, to put more videos out. I feel like now that I'm doing reaction videos too, it's a little bit easier for me. I'm not just coming up with only my original content and struggling to come up with like 2 different new video ideas. Now that I've lived here for over a year, things feel a little bit less new. They feel a little bit more comfortable. There's still plenty of content that I'm going to be putting out in that regard, but maybe doing like 1 a week, doing some reactions, doing a few other more relaxing, fun videos for me on the side will help going into this winter. October, I felt this huge jump in productivity again when it was starting to get warm. And on top of that, I even had a day where I posted 2 videos in one day, which for me was actually a pretty big surprise. I know that some of the videos weren't super popular. I was talking about advent calendar unboxings, and I know that Australia isn't as consumerist as America is, and advent calendars haven't been a huge major trend that has gone on over here. But I posted a few videos about advent calendars that I bought. And as you can see, my RPM was at the highest it had been, $12.29 for me. That was huge. And here we are at over $1,200, almost $1,300 for the month. But you think about it, had this RPM been like $2 instead of $12, that would have been like about a $300 month for me. So RPM is huge with this, you guys. November was another huge month for me. At that point, it had been the most money that I made on YouTube. And this was when I started doing reaction videos and also had my very first live stream. We got to 5,000 subscribers on the channel. And I promise when we get to 10,000, we'll do another live stream, you guys. And it was just a huge thing for me. It's the very first short that I had posted on here as well. And I was just blown away at this month. Still an $11 RPM, which is so much compared to some of the other months. And I was shocked. That was the most I made in a month. And here we have the last month of December. And it was the most money that I made on YouTube to date. Over $1,800 in 1 month, you guys, from posting reaction videos, from posting original content. I was so excited to see this growth. And the RPM had dipped a little bit. It was down to $8, which isn't bad, but isn't where I want it to be. I like seeing it in the double digits. I like seeing it at $10. RPMs are much higher depending on your niche, depending on what you mostly talk about. Finance channels have a huge RPM and it draws in so many viewers, but these sorts of channels, they get a little bit lower, particularly with reactions and some of the original content that I put out there, because it is so like country specific and country focused. It actually does lower the RPM a bit. You can see here the most I made in a day was $131. That was absolutely amazing for me. And the worst day I had was like $27, which is still huge. Like, to me, that's just insane. But as you can see, up around towards the end of the year, actually this is the lowest I made, $12.77, which towards the end of the year, obviously people are on holiday, people are busy, people are moving around. You expect the views to be a little bit lower than they are. And to be honest, a couple of the videos I was putting out towards the very, very end of the year, I'm like, okay, I know people aren't going to be super busy. I want to post these. I want to see what people think of them. I posted them and some of them just didn't do as well as I thought they would, or as well as I would have liked them to. So I pulled that back a little bit. That way I can refocus my content on 2023, particularly with reactions, because I love talking about America and Australia, but I don't want to just narrow myself to talking about videos that talk about America and Australia. I want to be able to expand a little bit more, and overall I feel like this actually did help a little bit. But drumroll please, everything I made in 2022, over $12,000, you guys. $12,481 Australian. My average RPM was at $9.27. My highest earning video with over $1,000 was 10 American habits I lost after moving to Australia, which honestly, I feel like some of my best videos are the ones that I don't over prepare for, I don't overly plan for. I kind of just sat down and wrote a quick little list and filmed a video that day. That wasn't one that had been sitting in my, I want to film this video, I need to plan this out, I need to research this. That was not quite a throwaway video for me, but it wasn't one that I had been planning for ages. It was something that just sort of popped into my head. So that video really took off. But there are a lot of factors. That's actually not the video I have with the most views. It's actually like, it's still within I think the top 5, but it's not within the top 3. And there's so much more to views. It's also the RPM and CPM when you're posting these. It's how many ads you actually post in there. It's the time of year that you're posting as well, because obviously a little bit closer to the holidays, RPMs, CPMs do tend to pick up. people do have a little bit more views around towards the end of the year as well, depending on the type of content that you post. So there are so many reasons and so many factors that went into this. But overall, I am shocked. Still, $12,481. Obviously, so just to point this out, you do have to pay tax on this. It's not like it's tax-free. So this is definitely going to be reported to the ATO. It was reported, like what I had earned up into the end of July, that was reported. And then 2023, this will be reported as well. But I'm still shocked, you guys. I'm so grateful. Thank you all so much for the likes, for the views, for subscribing to the channel. I would not be here without you guys. I could not do this without you guys. I'd be a crazy lady talking to a camera in the middle of our office if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed, who has watched my videos in 2022. I'm hoping to put out more content and better content for you guys in 2023. If you have anything that you want me to react to, if you have any ideas for videos, pop over to our Discord server. We have a great chat going on over there. That is where I get my video recommendations. I don't get video recommendations from the comments, you guys. I don't click on links that people put in my comments. And if you have ideas for videos, feel free to go over there and let me know, not just videos that you want me to react to, but if you have videos about America and Australia that you'd want me to come up with a list for, any ideas, let me know as well. I'd love to get some of your input. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.